All right, Tyler, go ahead.
All right, everyone, welcome to class. And I don't know if any of you are aware, but there is a very dangerous threat to all of us in planet Earth right now. And I'm going to be here to teach you how to prevent this threat from happening. And the threat is obviously the Death Star. And I'm going to teach you guys how to destroy a Death Star. And since we obviously all don't have the ability of Jedi, it's for Jedi and non-Jedi. And so first of all, we need a little background information about the Death Star. And I'm guessing this picture is familiar to a lot of you. It was built during technically it's the 4th Star Wars movie, but it was the first one made. And it is 160 kilometers wide in diameter, and it was constructed by members of the Empire under the direction of Emperor Palpatine, who was a senator. He was kind of a double agent. He was a senator in the Republic and a Sith Lord at the same time, and which made it easy for him to control both sides. And by the end of the 3rd movie, he took control, and with his apprentice, Darth Vader, who everyone probably knows a little bit more about. And they built this space station which has the capability of destroying entire planets with the super laser, which is this little part right here. And it's actually quite a few lasers that are around here, and they converge in the center to create one big super laser that can destroy planets, which is very dangerous to us. So we need to know how to get rid of this thing if it ever attacks. And here's a little diagram of the Death Star. Like I said, there's the super laser with the, kind of looks like an eye there. And for destroying this thing, we were most concerned about this part right here. And it's called the Equatorial Trench. And we will be flying down that trench and trying to reach what's called the exhaust vent, which leads to the center of the space station, and I'll talk about a little bit more in detail later. But that's kind of the thing. It's massive, obviously, 160 kilometers in diameter, and it houses ships, people, probably quite about everything. And so we can talk about the weaknesses. One of the main weaknesses that isn't really apparent at first is that small ships can penetrate its outer energy shield. And energy shield is like this invisible field which can deflect lasers or anything, so that prevents us from attacking it from a long distance. Because of that, and since we can penetrate the shield, we can use small ships like X-Wings or Y-Wings, which I'll show a picture of later. And these are just one-manned crafts where there's one pilot and maybe like a droid to help you out. And this little picture here is the exhaust vent I was talking about. And it's 2 meters wide, and which is probably about this distance, and which makes it extremely difficult to fire 2 proton torpedoes, which are what we need to use because they have the ability to destroy the thing. And yeah, that's where we need to reach, and then you fire 2 in there, and that vent goes all the way to the center of the station, and it sets up a chain reaction which destroys it. Alright, and there's a picture of an X-Wing I was talking about where the pilot would sit right here under the windshield, and here's a little droid. That one looks like R2-D2. And yeah, that's the X-Wing. The plan of action, though, would be to first fly through the outer defenses and the energy shield. And the outer defenses include, like there's along that trench I was talking about, the Equatorial Trench, there will be enemy fighters chasing you. And there's little turbo laser towers that are kind of automated targeting, so you have to evade those. And like in the movie, there's enemy fighters like Darth Vader who chases Luke. And to approach the vent, you need to travel down the trench and fire the 2 proton torpedoes. And it sets off a chain reaction, like I said, where the entire station explodes, which to me is kind of a really big architectural problem where one thing can destroy an entire station. But I guess they didn't think of that when they were building it. Alright. For a little reference here, we are going to watch the destruction of the very first Death Star, which will give us some, show us how it's done.
Tyler, 2.5.
Okay.
Okay.
Please come up quick. Alright, I'm going to find it real quick.
The little knob you can turn up.
Alright, this is, I just skipped to the end of the fight, and the X-Wings have been traveling down the trench for quite a while, and this is where, there's Darth Vader right there. And this is where Han Solo comes and helps out Luke, because you think Han Solo abandoned him, but he comes back. And then it leaves a clear shot for Luke, so let's watch. Hopefully it's not.
The little knob will give you the volume right by the projector.
Oh, this one. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I think it's plastic.
I'll turn it down.
There it goes. Safe. We're all safe. And
That was 1 in a million.
1 in a million. So obviously that kind of sensitive 1 in a million. We're going to need some luck on our side, but it's possible. And obviously in our day and time, the explosion wouldn't really look like that because, like we know, there's no sound or explosions in space, but obviously Star Wars would kind of be going about it. And so here's a picture of the medal ceremony after they destroyed it, and that could be you. Could be. You get a nice little medal, except for Chewbacca for some reason. That's pretty sad. He deserved one, that guy. But yeah, this is very important, like I said. So if any of you have any questions regarding the mission, then